The message that destroyed my Christmas wasn't even meant for me. It arrived at 11:47 p.m., just 13 minutes before midnight, when the world was wrapped in lights, laughter, and celebrations. But inside my chest, something cold and heavy settled the moment I heard the notification. I was sitting alone in the living room, a cup of chai beside me, the heater humming softly, and the quiet warmth of Christmas Eve filling the house. My wife, Alina, had stepped out to check something in the storeroom. I didn't think much of it. She'd been distracted all week, but I dismissed it as holiday stress. I picked up my phone, expecting maybe a forwarded meme or a friend wishing me Merry Christmas. But what I saw wasn't meant for me. Merry Christmas. My love red heart, I can't wait to be in your arms tomorrow. Last night was unforgettable. I miss your touch already. My breath stopped. My hand froze around the phone. At first, I genuinely believed she was playing a prank. Maybe she sent it to me accidentally, intending to flirt. But then I saw it. The name. She hadn't sent it to Love, the nickname she always used for me. She had sent it to Baby, a contact I didn't recognize. And the worst part, the emoji she never used with me. A heart with a sparkle. My vision blurred. My ears rang. The heater's humming felt painfully loud. I could feel my heartbeat pounding against my ribs, sharp and uneven. I whispered to myself, No, this can't be real. But it was real. And as the seconds stretched into heavy silence, the truth pressed down on me. A message meant for another man had come to me instead. A mistake that shattered my world in a single breath. If you're still here, stay with me. Because what happened next was only the beginning. Before I tell you how everything collapsed, I need you to understand something. This wasn't a marriage built on convenience or time. This was a love story I would have sworn on my life was real. We met 5 years ago during a winter charity drive. It was one of those bitterly cold December evenings, where the streets smelled of roasted peanuts and fog hung low over the sidewalks. I remember seeing her struggling to carry boxes of blankets inside the community center. She wasn't just pretty. There was a softness in her face, a kindness in the way she laughed when the boxes almost tipped over. "Let me help," I said. She looked up, strands of dark hair touching her cheeks, and smiled in a way I still remember. "Thank you. I think I took more than I could handle." That was our beginning. That simple, that pure. We spent that whole evening folding clothes, handing out food, joking like we'd known each other for longer than a few hours. When she shivered slightly, I took off my jacket and draped it over her shoulders. She blushed. I didn't know then that moment would become a memory I'd replay for years, both in love and later, in pain. The months that followed were magical. We would walk through winter markets holding hands, drinking hot chocolate, talking about dreams and futures we thought were aligned. She told me about her job, her ambitions, her love for Christmas lights. She said she wanted a marriage full of warmth, honesty, and traditions. I believed every word. Everyone around us saw it too. My best friend Omar always said, "Bro, she looks at you like you're her whole world." My younger brother, Adil, would tease me, "Finally, someone who can tolerate you." Even her coworker Sanaa, who later became very close to her, used to gush about how perfectly we fit. When I proposed to her, she cried so hard I could barely understand her yes. That night, she told me, "I want every Christmas of my life with you," and I had no reason to doubt her. Our first year of marriage was everything people write in novels. Late-night talks, spontaneous trips, silly arguments that ended with cuddles. I worked long hours, but she always supported me. When my business struggled, she encouraged me, saying, "We'll get through everything together." I thought I had found a partner, a soulmate, someone who'd stand by me no matter what storms came our way. But storms have a way of sending warning winds first. Small, almost unnoticeable shifts that hint at the destruction to come. The early red flags were faint, easy to excuse, easy to ignore, like how she suddenly became close to her coworker Sanaa's friend group, or how she started staying late at work more often during the holiday season, or how she kept her phone on silent more than usual. I told myself she was stressed. I believed her excuses because trust was something I never questioned with her. Even when Omar once said, "She seems distant lately," I brushed it off with a laugh. She's just tired. Even when Adil noticed she dressed differently, more carefully, more intentionally, I told him not to overthink. Love makes you blind in ways you don't notice until someone rips the veil off your eyes. I made sacrifices too. When my business took a hit, I sold my bike, the one I saved for years to buy, just so we could maintain her comfort. She told me not to, but she didn't stop me either. When her mother fell ill, I took leave from work for weeks to take care of hospital errands. I never once complained. I never once thought she didn't appreciate me. And when Christmas approached, I went all out. I bought her a bracelet she once admired. I planned a candlelight dinner. I decorated the house myself because she said she didn't have the energy. If you're still here, hit like. Because what I'm about to tell you burns deeper than any betrayal I've ever heard of. The change in her didn't happen overnight. It was gradual, like winter creeping in one cold breeze at a time. At first, it was the way she smiled less at me. Then the way she seemed distracted, always lost in her thoughts. Sometimes she'd stare at her phone and quickly put it away when I entered the room. I'd ask, "Everything okay?" And she'd smile, but it wasn't her smile. It was a rehearsed one, practiced one. "Just work," she would say. I wanted to believe her. I needed to believe her, because the alternative was too painful to imagine. But now, as I held that message, the message meant for someone else. I felt every ignored sign come crashing back like a tidal wave. I remember the first Christmas we spent together. We stood under a giant decorated tree in the city center, lights glowing above us, snowflakes falling around us. She held my hand, looked at me with a softness I thought was forever, and whispered, "Promise me. No matter what happens, we'll never hurt each other." I squeezed her hand and promised. I kept that promise. She didn't, and maybe that's the part that hurts the most. Because love wasn't supposed to end like this. Not with a message that was never meant for me. Not with the truth delivered by accident. Not on Christmas Eve. But life doesn't care about perfect stories. It destroys them without warning. And as the clock ticked toward midnight, I knew something inside me had shattered beyond recognition. The marriage I thought was built on love was built on lies. The woman I thought I knew was someone else. And the Christmas we were supposed to celebrate together became the night my world collapsed. Keep listening, because the real horror began after that message. When you receive a message like the one I did, your brain doesn't process it all at once. It hits in waves. First confusion, then denial, then a burning, suffocating panic that crawls up your spine. I sat there staring at the screen, my thumb trembling over the text. A single message, a mistake, had opened a door I never wanted to look through. I heard her footsteps coming back from the storeroom, light and casual, like nothing was wrong. She entered the living room, brushing her hair back. "What are you doing up this late?" she asked, smiling faintly. I looked up at her. The same face I had loved for years. The same woman who had cried during our wedding vows. The same hands that had held mine. But now, there was someone else in her eyes. I could see it. I could feel it. She walked closer, but I couldn't move. "Alina!" My voice cracked. She paused. I swallowed hard. "You sent me something by accident." Her eyes widened just a fraction. A flicker. A tiny, almost invisible twitch of terror. But she composed herself instantly. "What do you mean?" Her voice sounded steady, too steady. I turned the phone around and held it out toward her. Her face went pale. The room felt colder. She stared at the screen, and the silence between us became a scream I couldn't unhear. She didn't reach for the phone. She didn't explain. She didn't even blink. Every second of her silence felt like another knife in my chest. She finally took a slow breath and whispered, "I can explain." That was the moment I knew the truth. Because innocent people don't start with "I can explain." Innocent people panic, deny, defend. Guilty people try to craft stories. And she was crafting one now. "It's not what you think," she said, her voice cracking. This was supposed to be a joke. Sanaa dared me to send a flirty message to a random contact. And a joke. I cut her off. A Christmas love message? Saying last night was unforgettable? Her mouth opened, then closed. No words. No lies formed fast enough this time. My hands shook uncontrollably as I whispered, "Who is he?" She stepped back, her face tightening. "There's no he. You're overthinking. Alina." My voice wasn't loud, but it hit the room like thunder. She froze. Her breathing became shallow. "Who is he?" She looked away, and in that moment, I knew I had already lost her. Suspicion had been living in our house long before I ever caught it. I remembered the late nights she claimed she needed to finish reports. The sudden interest in gym sessions she never told me about. The weekends she said she was visiting her mother and came home smelling of cologne that wasn't mine. The new dresses she bought and never wore around me. The extra showers. The sudden obsession with her appearance. The way she guarded her phone like it was gold. Every red flag I had ignored hit me at once, knocking the air out of my lungs. She walked past me, pacing near the dining table, running her hands through her hair. "You're making assumptions," she said, but her voice was too shaky to be convincing. "Then clear them," I whispered. She didn't. She couldn't. Instead, she finally muttered, I need time. Time." After breaking my chest open, she wanted time. Keep listening. Because what I did next changed everything. I didn't sleep that night. I waited until she fell asleep on the couch, pretending to be upset, pretending to be overwhelmed, pretending to need space. When her breathing finally evened out, I quietly picked up her phone from under the cushion. Face ID didn't work unless she was awake. But I knew her passcode. She didn't think I remembered, but I did. 0217, the date of our first kiss. When the screen unlocked, my stomach dropped, because the very first thing I saw was a hidden folder. A locked vault app disguised as a calculator. I opened it, and there it was. Pictures, videos, screenshots, messages, all dated over the past 6 months. All with one name, Baby. The same contact from the message. The same man she had sent her Christmas confession to. My hands shook violently as I scrolled. Photos of them at a cafe. Him holding her waist. Her leaning into him. A hotel room selfie, her in his shirt, smiling at the camera like she used to smile only for me. A voice note, "I wish I could spend Christmas night with you instead." I dropped the phone. My heart felt like it was being crushed from the inside. Each image carved a deeper wound. Each message was another betrayal etched into my memory. And then, the biggest shock of all, a message from him. "Can't wait to take you away from him. Just a little more. New Year's, our fresh start." She had plans. Real plans. Plans where I didn't exist. Plans where she saw a future with him. If you feel his pain, comment "Stay strong." Because this was the moment I truly broke. I confronted her the next morning. She didn't deny it anymore. She didn't even apologize. She just cried and kept saying, "It wasn't supposed to go this far." That phrase kept repeating in my head like a haunting echo. Not supposed to go this far. As if she tripped into a hotel room by accident. As if she kissed him because she slipped. As if months of cheating were an accident. She finally admitted his name, his identity, his connection. And that's when the real twist hit me so hard I felt my knees weaken. He wasn't a stranger. He wasn't a coworker. He wasn't someone she met recently. He was someone from our past. Someone I trusted. Someone I once called a brother. It was Omar, my best friend. The man who told me she seemed distant. The man who used to come to our house, joke with her, help with decorations, bring gifts for us both. The man who hugged me on my wedding day and whispered, "You're the luckiest guy, bro." All those times he warned me about her mood. He was covering his own tracks. All those times he said he was busy. He was busy with my wife. He had been betraying me behind my back while pretending to protect me. She confessed everything while trembling, and her voice still plays in my head. "We never meant for it to happen, but he listened to me. He understood me. I felt alive again. My vision went dark. My ears rang. Everything inside me erupted. Couldn't breathe. Couldn't think. The room spun. You destroyed me, I whispered. You both destroyed me. She tried to hold my arm. I pulled away so fast she stumbled. Don't touch me. I walked to the balcony, tears burning down my face as the cold wind slapped against my skin. The city was alive with Christmas lights, cheerful noises, celebrations. But inside me, everything was dead. And then, as if the universe wanted to cut deeper, another message pinged on her phone. From him. Morning beautiful. I miss you. Last night was perfect. My hand tightened on the railing. Something snapped in me. Not anger. Not hatred. Something colder. Something sharper. Something focused. The kind of clarity a man only feels when he's been pushed beyond his breaking point. Keep listening, because this next part changed everything. I walked back inside. Calm. Too calm. That scared her more than my anger. What are you going to do? She asked, her voice trembling. What I should have done a long time ago, I whispered. She begged me not to tell anyone. She fell to her knees, gripping my hand, crying harder than ever. Please, please don't ruin my life. You ruined mine, I said. And yet here you are worried about yours. She sobbed uncontrollably. And for a moment, just a moment, I almost felt pity. But then I remembered the messages, the pictures, the hotel room, the future plans, the Christmas message meant for him. And that pity turned to ice. I didn't shout. I didn't hit anything. I didn't break down. I simply said, pack your things. Her eyes widened. What? No, please. Pack your things. She refused. I walked to the door, opened it, pointed outside. You can leave on your own, or I will call your family and tell them everything. She froze. She knew I wasn't bluffing. And so, with shaking hands, she picked up a suitcase and began stuffing her clothes inside it, crying, begging, apologizing, promising it meant nothing, promising it was over, promising she would fix everything. But I didn't listen. My heart had already shut down. When she finally walked out with her suitcase, she whispered, I'm sorry. I never wanted to hurt you. I closed the door gently, not angrily, gently, and stood there in silence, breathing slowly, the weight of betrayal settling into every part of me. But this wasn't the twist. Not even close. Because as she walked away, I knew I wasn't done. Christmas hadn't taken everything from me yet. There was more truth waiting to be uncovered, more lies to unravel, and the biggest twist of all was still hiding in the shadows of the story. Subscribe to Betrayal Tells for more real heartbreak stories. When she left the house, a strange quiet settled over everything. Not peaceful, not empty, just different, like the air had shifted, thick with betrayal. I stood there staring at the door she had closed behind her, the echo of her apology still ringing faintly in my ears. But apologies don't fix shattered trust. They don't erase months of lies. They don't undo nights spent with someone else while pretending to love you. And they don't mend a marriage that was already in pieces long before the Christmas message exposed everything. I didn't break down. I didn't scream. I didn't punch walls. My heartbreak had passed into something calmer, colder, a place where emotions stop bleeding and start sharpening. I sat on the couch, hands trembling slightly, as I replayed the conversations, the photos, the timeline. Everything pointed to one truth. They were not done. Even if she packed her things, even if she said it was over, they weren't finished. Because men like Omar don't let go easily. And women who cheat for months don't stop loving their affair partner overnight. I knew that. Deep down, I knew she would run straight to him next. And that thought didn't hurt me anymore. It fueled something else entirely. I looked at my phone. His number was still saved. After all, he had been my best friend. I opened the old messages between us. His jokes, his advice, his brother-like comfort. The way he used to say, no matter what, bro, I'm with you. I laughed, a bitter, dead laugh. Then I typed a simple message. We need to talk. I hit send. Almost instantly, He replied, "Everything okay?" The audacity, the nerve, the fake concern. I answered, "Come over. I need you." He responded with a thumbs-up emoji. The thumbs up, a casual symbol that mocked everything I felt. My hands tightened into fists, but I breathed, slowly, methodically, because what I had planned required more than anger, it required patience. And precision. If you're still here, hit like. Because the real twist is coming. I didn't call the police. I didn't call her parents. I didn't make a scene. I simply prepared. Not weapons. Not violence. Something far more powerful. The truth. The kind of truth that destroys reputations, not bodies. The kind of truth that ripples through families, workplaces, friendships, everything they hold dear. I backed up every message, every photo, every voice note into a separate folder. Then I printed the most incriminating ones, hotel receipts, pictures of them together, screenshots of explicit messages. I spread them out on the dining table like a deck of cards. Evidence. Solid, undeniable, irrefutable evidence. When the doorbell rang, I felt nothing. No fear. No nervousness. Just focus. I opened the door and there he stood. Omar. Smiling softly, hands in his pockets, acting like everything was normal. "Bro, what's wrong? You look rough. Did you fight with Alina?" His concern made me sick. I stepped aside. "Come in." He walked in casually, completely unaware of the trap he had stepped into. His eyes landed on the table, the papers, the photos, the messages, and all the color drained from his face. He froze. His jaw tightened. His eyes darted from one piece of evidence to another. Time stopped for him. Then he whispered, I can explain." The same line she used. The same shameless script. I leaned against the wall and stared at him. "Go ahead," I said quietly. "Explain." He didn't. He couldn't. His mouth opened, closed, opened again like a fish gasping for air. Sweat formed on his forehead. "Bro, please listen." "Don't," I said. "Don't insult me with lies." He swallowed hard, his breathing shallow. "It wasn't supposed to go this far." That sentence hit me like déjà vu. They were both reading from the same misery-filled script. I laughed, shaking my head. "That's her line too." He blinked. "She told you?" "Oh, she told me everything," I said. "And I saw even more." His eyes widened. He realized now that he wasn't dealing with a broken man, but with a man who knew too much. A man who had every piece of evidence needed to destroy him. He stepped forward, hands raised. "Please, I'm begging you, don't ruin my life." I smirked. "Funny. That's exactly what she said." He froze. His throat bobbed as he swallowed again. "Are you going to tell her family?" he whispered. "Your family? Everyone." I didn't answer. His panic grew. "Bro, I swear. She kept saying she was unhappy. She said you were distant. She said your marriage was—" "Stop." He stopped. "Your version of the story doesn't matter anymore," I said quietly. "Because now, I'm in control." That's when he finally understood. I didn't want an apology. I didn't want revenge in the form of violence. I wanted something deeper, something cleaner, something that would hurt more than any punch. Exposure. I took out my phone, pressed record, and set it on the table. "You're going to tell me the truth," I said. "Every detail, every lie, every meeting, every time, and you're going to say it clearly. On record." He shook his head violently. No, please. I can't." "You can," I interrupted. "Or I send everything to your fiancé." His eyes widened in terror. There it was, the button, the weak spot, the thing he feared losing the most. His fiancée Zoya. Sweet, innocent, kind-hearted Zoya who loved him blindly. The one person he couldn't bear to disappoint. And he had been planning to marry her while sleeping with my wife. He broke. Right there, in my living room, he crumbled. Tears filled his eyes. His voice shook. And slowly, painfully, he confessed everything. The first message. The first meeting. The hotel rooms. The nights spent together. The deep conversations. The plans to start a life after New Year's. Every filthy detail spilled out like poison from an infected wound. I recorded it all, standing still, watching him unravel. When he finished, he collapsed onto the couch, face buried in his hands, sobbing. But there was no sympathy left in me, only a numb, cold clarity. I stopped the recording, saved it, and backed it up. Then I said, "Leave." He lifted his head, eyes red. What are you going to do with the recording?" I walked past him, opened the door, and said, "Depends on how honest you stay from this moment on." He left the house broken. But my story wasn't done. Because betrayal never leaves quietly. It always has one last twist waiting. 2 hours later, she came back. Yes, she came back, crying, begging, kneeling. Please don't throw our marriage away. I regret everything.
I swear ido.
I made a mistake. I looked at her hollowly.
No anger. No tears.
Why are you here? She grabbed my hands. Because I love you. I only love you. He meant nothing. I pulled my hands away. Then why did you plan a future with him? She froze. She didn't know I had seen those messages. Her lips trembled. I didn't mean it. I was confused. Confusion doesn't last 6 months. Her tears fell harder. She whispered, "Give me one chance. Just one." I stared at her for a long moment. Her makeup smeared, her eyes red, her voice desperate. A woman capable of ruining 2 lives with one decision. I finally said, "Okay." Her eyes widened with hope. "Are really?" "Yes," I said softly. "I'll give you one chance." She collapsed into my arms, sobbing in relief. She held me so tightly I could barely breathe. "Thank you. Thank you. Thank you." I didn't hug her back, because my one chance wasn't what she thought. The next day, I asked her to meet me at her parents' house. She thought it was to apologize, to fix things, to talk about the marriage. She arrived dressed nicely, hopeful, smiling weakly. I took a deep breath and said, "Let's talk inside." Inside, her parents sat on the couch. My parents were there too. Her sisters, my brother, even her cousin who was like a sister to her. Everyone she loved. Everyone who mattered. She froze instantly. Her smile faded. Why is everyone here? I placed a thick envelope on the table. Evidence. Every message. Every picture. Every hotel slip. Every confession. Her father picked it up. Her mother gasped before even opening it. Her sister's hand flew to her mouth. Alina's face went white. She stared at me in horror. You said you'd give me another chance." I nodded. "Yes, a chance to tell the truth in front of everyone." She collapsed, right there, knees hitting the floor, crying, screaming, trying to explain. But no one listened. Her father slapped the table so hard the cups rattled. Her mother cried into her hands. My mother's eyes were filled with disbelief. My father shook his head in disappointment. Her betrayal didn't just break me. It broke every person who loved us both. And then, the final twist. Her father whispered something that changed everything. "This isn't the first time." My heart stopped. He continued, "Before marriage, there was someone else she was hiding. We thought it was just a phase. We thought she would change." Alina screamed, "Stop! Please stop!" But the truth had already spilled out. She had a pattern, a history, a list of secrets. I wasn't her first betrayal. I was just the one who discovered it fully. She looked at me with broken, bloodshot eyes and whispered, "Please, don't leave me. I have no one." I took a deep breath, looked at her one last time, and replied, "You had me, but you chose him." I stood up, walked out of her parents' house, and never looked back. 6 months later, I filed for divorce. She signed without a fight. She moved away to another city, ashamed, isolated, forgotten. Omar's fiancé? She received the recording. Their engagement ended instantly. He lost everything. Friends, respect, his job, his reputation. People still whisper about him. And me? I healed. Slowly, quietly, strongly. I rebuilt myself. I worked on my life, my health, my peace. And one day, I realized something important. Sometimes God removes people from your life because you prayed for peace without knowing what was disturbing it. And that became my moral. Never blame yourself for someone else's betrayal. Loyalty is a choice, and so is cheating. If you feel his pain, comment stay strong. Subscribe to Betrayal Tells for more real, heartbreaking stories.